how do we make ourselves memorable? How do we, when we do an interaction, like Lori was saying, we go to this event, there are, hundreds of people in there. How do you, when somebody meets you and they, they're driving back home on the next day and what would make them think of you? Say, oh, that person that I met last night, kind of interesting. What would do that? Question for you right now. What would make you memorable? What are the kinds of things you can say, behaviors? Anybody? Okay. Yeah. So I'll remember Laura because she brought her baby. But actually, I'll tell you what, one of the things that breaks my heart is that in a lot of these networking events, when I invite, it's more women than men, they'll answer is, I would love to go, but I have to stay with the kids. So I actually have talked to some of you in the room, in fact, about what I need to partner with somebody that we can have some kind of daycare or something that women can come with their kids and have their kids there and stuff, because I don't want women to not be able to come to these events because they have to stay, with their kids, right? So we've kind of been thinking about that. But we have a comment from Alex. Okay, yes.
I went to one of my friends' events, and one of the activities we did was you had to say your favorite color, but you had to tell a story on why it was your favorite color. I still remember what this lady's story was. So I think telling a great story when you're networking is something that's super important to be memorable.
Come here, Alex. Come here. Good. So Alex is a very good friend of mine, and he's very memorable to me. I met him in a networking event through another friend, Daenerys. We're Daenerys right here, and we talked about having lunch. And when he came to have lunch, he did something memorable. He didn't come to tell me I'm amazing, I'm rock and rolling, he told me, hey, Luis, I just started this business, and we're kind of, it's going. So I talked to a few people. I knocked on some doors. The doors were not opening and stuff. He opened his heart to me, and he told me sincerely what he was going through and his idea with excitement and enthusiasm, but with the truth. So that is memorable, and I remember Alex, and thank you for doing that. So that's the gift of speaking from the heart, right? I love that, because sometimes we go out and we tell a story how amazing we are, but what if we say, hey, here's what's really going on, right? Yeah. So it's another way to connect. So we do an empathy training, Lori and I, and in that empathy training we share one model that is called the CARE model. And today I want to introduce you to the Dustin model, which is when you go network. So make sure that you network with Dustin. So here's what Dustin is. First thing, and this is based on emotional intelligence. And, tonight we're not going to have a training on emotional intelligence, but this is one component from that training, which is first is detect. And I think this laser doesn't work there, but
human laser.
Detect. Identify what's the feeling, emotion, or experience that someone is expressing. That goes back to what Lori was saying earlier, right? It's like in the moment, pay attention, listen to what the person, be more interested in the person in front of you, and try to identify what is it that the person is trying, how is the person feeling? Is the person excited? Is the person sad? Is the person, what is it? Somebody tells you, well, I went to the doctor with my dad and they say that he has cancer, but, I think that he's going to really beat it. Well, then that's the sentiment that the person is feeling, right? And that sentiment, so the person says, well, but, my dad is a strong person, so I think that he's going to really beat this. What would be the sentiment? The sentiment is hope, right? So the person is hopeful. So then once you detect it, then you understand it, which is you have to appreciate what the person is feeling, what the person is going through. You believe it to be true. You take it as something important. Whether it's important to you or not, that's not a problem. It's important to the person in front of you. So first you detect it, then you understand it. Then you share timely, which is sharing as in joining with the person in the feeling. It's like if the person is hopeful. So some people will say like, oh, I'm coming with my dad from the doctor, they said that he had cancer, so they told him that he only had 3 months, but he's a strong man, so I think he's going to be here for years. Some people will answer, oh, and what clinic was that you went to? Well, we went to the Mayo Clinic. Those guys are very good, so when they tell you, they tell you 3 months, if I was you, my friend, I would start kind of getting things ready. I know this lawyer, and they can help you to, get the will and everything. because they fail to detect the emotion that the person that was hope. And then when you detect it and you understand it and you take it and believe it to be true, then you share it with the person. So your answer should be, oh yeah, absolutely. The person is strong. A person that is strong is more likely to live longer because you can beat the odds if you have, the mind is a powerful thing. And when we've done this training, sometimes people say, well, but I don't want to do that because that is the false hope. And I say, well, and what's the problem? That's very hard to hold in court that they're going to sue you because you gave somebody false hope, right? I mean, if you say, if the person dies, well, the person dies, but at least, you gave some, help the person to go in the field. And you gotta do it intentionally. You gotta do it, so follow up with the specific actions. Oh wow, you're that, is there something that I can do? Could I, and follow up, write a note, when you send an email, say, hey, I'm sorry, sorry about your dad. I think that you're right. He's gonna do great and stuff. And I know this person, so you always network with us and you detect the feeling, sentiment, or experience. You understand it, believe it, take it to be true, and you share it timely right there at the moment. You join in the feeling and you do it intentionally. You follow up with a very specific action that you're going to do. All right? So